Hi, welcome back to Looking at Hollywood. A poem. With Gloria Loring, it's never boring. From songs that she writes and sings for top-rated shows, from soaps she acts in to get to wear beautiful clothes, a blonde with a face that everyone knows. Tonight she's with Skippy. Let's see how it goes.
Gloria Loring grew up in Minneapolis, from New York, though, originally, right?
Well, I was born in New York, and I lived there for a good portion of my childhood, and then we moved to Minneapolis, and my family's all from Minnesota. I spent a lot of summers there.
Great place. Great, clean, fun place.
Lots
14
of water.
Years, lots of water, right. 14 years old, singing. Folk songs, that's what you were doing at 14, in a folk band, or what was that all about? I heard that you were in a folk group.
Well, I started...
Something about four. Go ahead.
Those Four.
Those Four.
Was the name of the group. I sang in school. I sang in church choirs. I grew up listening. My dad was a jazz musician.
Oh.
And I grew up listening to jazz, but Peter, Paul, and Mary and that kind of music was, you know, very much the rage, and Phil Oakes, and I had long blonde hair, and I was a young girl, and I wanted to work, and we started singing those songs, you know, Puff the Magic Dragon.
Right. But 18, Miami, you really got professionally paid at 18 going to Miami Playboy Club?
No,
or what?
I was living in Miami. I went to Miami Beach High School, and I was living in Miami, and I had already started working professionally at 14. I was being... with the group, we were paid. I mean, it was, you know, $10 each a night or something like that. But
coffee houses, though, not nightclubs.
No, you couldn't work in nightclubs till you were 18.
Right.
So when I was 18, I got my first job.
Playboy?
Yes, the Playboy Club.
How was it, the Playboy Club? It must have been exciting for you to work the Playboy Club, Gloria.
Well, it was certainly the heyday of the Playboy clubs, and it was in the 60s, late 60s, and it was exciting, certainly. You know, it was great because you only had to sing about 4 or 5 numbers. You could do them quickly, and it was a good place to learn.
The comic Jackie Gale. Did you work with him there?
Jackie Gale and I worked together many times.
Yeah,
yes.
he was on the Playboy.
A lot of people. Yeah.
Then the Merv Griffith came. Come on, Gloria, that was your whole... Merv Griffith had a lot to do with you. You appeared on his show. Yes,
I did, but the first time I auditioned for the show, I got turned down.
You did?
The person who's really responsible was a wonderful man named Fred Williamson, who was an agent down in Miami.
Right.
And when I auditioned, I was very nervous. I was young and all of that, and auditioned, and they said, well, no, thank you. And they called him back, and Fred called Merv and said, Merv, I've known you for 30 years. She's really talented, and I think you should give her a shot. So Merv went over the heads of his producers and agreed, because of Fred, to put me on the show.
Right.
And I did the one show, and there seemed to be a flurry. I was the new blonde on the block for, a little while, and I did his show for a year. I did a show every 2 weeks for a year, and that was a tremendous start.
Merv helped a lot of people, I must tell you, hasn't he? He's a good man, isn't he? Merv Griffith.
He was very instrumental. I mean, having that format, a variety talk show where people got to sing, and having that exposure for a newcomer was of course extraordinary.
The songs. Do you remember the song you sang on Merv Griffith's first appearance?
Oh yes,
what was
it?
Do you remember?
It was Going Out of My Head, and then there was another. Wait, I think Taste of Honey I did on the Carol Burnett show. Going Out of My Head I remember, and I've forgotten the other one.
2 great songs you just did. Taste of Honey.
Yeah.
Carol Burnett. What a great lady. Fun doing that show?
Yes, it was. She was lovely. Come in.
Yeah.
She was lovely. She was very gracious to everyone on the show and very, very helpful. Yeah.
But Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show. Your favorite. You're the favorite singer of Johnny.
Oh, I am? Since when? Where is that written?
Johnny
come on,
Carson
give me a break.
Adores Gloria Loring. Now,
he does?
Yes, Gloria. I heard this before you
heard this?
He adores you. He adores you.
Okay.
Then what happened? You got married?
Somewhere in there. Let's see. I guess that's one of the things I did. Yes, I got married, and I had and have 2 boys. And they're wonderful, and they're now 16 and 18.
You married a celebrity also? He's an entertainer?
Well, at the time he wasn't a celebrity. At the time he was a
Canada.
struggling...
Canadian boy?
Yes,
He's from Canada. How did you meet him? Go ahead.
I bet she knows better.
I'm just letting her jump in. Go ahead, Gloria.
He was a young writer-performer from Canada, and he was in Toronto, and I met him there. And
you met him in Toronto when you were working?
Yes, I did. I was working up there.
Fell in love right away, and that was it?
It was pretty quick. We met in January of 1970. We got married in August.
And you have 2 children.
2 beautiful boys, yes. Yes.
Something happened.
What?
Well,
tell me, I can't wait to
Gloria,
hear.
you're making something happened about one of your boys. He had diabetes or something like that.
Well, he still has it. Yes, he has diabetes. He was diagnosed at 4.5.
How did that react? It terrified you right away because you went.
Well, it didn't terrify me right away. Most of all, what you feel when you're told your child has a chronic illness that is incurable, lifelong, is you feel tremendous grief and tremendous sadness, because you feel as a parent you should be able to protect your child or do something to fix it, and there is nothing that can be done to fix insulin-dependent diabetes.
Right.
There are 2 types. There's non-insulin dependent and there's insulin dependent. And usually people over the age of 30 get the non-insulin dependent. Under the age of 30 it's insulin. And you have to take insulin for the rest of your life. So it's sadness most of all that comes up. The scary part, some fear, the fear is around the fact that diabetes causes so many complications, blindness, nerve damage, kidney damage, heart disease, stroke, that sort of thing. It's the 3rd leading killer by disease in this country, after heart disease and cancer. So it's a scary disease as you start to learn about it, but your initial feelings are grief and guilt. Why didn't I know this? Why couldn't I have done something? You know, confusion. How am I going to deal with this? It's a very, very...
But you dealt with it. You know what you did? You went out there. Yes, you dealt with this because you went. You started a whole thing with the campaign thing.
Well, no,
Tell me about this.
I didn't start a thing. I joined a thing.
Okay.
I joined the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, and that was 14 years ago. Brendan is now 18.
Right.
And JDF at that time had been in existence about 8 or 9 years. It's 23 years they've been in existence now. And the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation is the largest supporter of diabetes research in the world. And that's what we do. We raise money to keep the scientists working. And other than the U.S. federal government, we give more money than anyone else. So,
when you gave up acting and singing for a while to keep up with at the early age of your boys. You took care of them.
Well, yeah.
And you gave up. You went to acting classes, lessons. Now, Gloria, let's get back. What are you laughing at, girl?
No, it's so cute the way you say it to me.
But I'm just explaining to you.
You're explaining to me instead of asking me, and
okay,
it's interesting.
Okay, that's the way I work.
Okay.
You went to classes.
Well, I didn't give up the singing. What I did was, when my boys were little, I took them with me everywhere.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
What I did was I cut back to a certain extent on the kinds of things I would be willing to take. It was a traveling zoo. I had 2 little boys, 2 years apart.
Right.
And, and sometimes I'd bring a housekeeper nanny with me, and it was, smashed banana everywhere, and, and toys and things. So I cut back on that, but during that time, well, for 10 years, I studied acting on and off.
With who did you study with?
Oh, a number of different people.
Here in L.A.?
In New York, a lady named Claudia Frank, who then moved out here to L.A. And
so, did you live in New York mostly, or here?
Well, no, I was born in New York. Then I moved several places. Then when I was about 18, I moved back, or 19, I moved back to New York for a couple of years. And then I moved to Los Angeles. It's a little, around and about.
Right.
Yes.
You're a songwriter, a great songwriter. You also did a theme song for Different Strokes?
I co-wrote, I was one of the contributors to the themes for Different Strokes
and
Facts of Life.
Right.
Yeah. And I write songs that I've recorded on my albums and that I do in my show. And so I write songs mostly out of my personal experience.
What do you mean by your personal experiences, Gloria?
Well, things that come to my heart. One of the songs that I wrote from a previous album is called A Song of My Father. And it's about my relationship with my father, who's an alcoholic. And although it doesn't mention alcohol, it's about coming to terms with someone who has perhaps not met one's expectations as one would have wished, and still loving them. And the song is written from a very delicate place,
Were you
but written with love.
very close to your dad? Even though as you were away from home working?
I was not close to him because when I was growing up, because he was sick. He couldn't let anyone get close. In later years, he's allowed people to get closer, and we have a good relationship. Yes. Yeah, we have a good. I just saw him the other day, as a matter of fact.
So you're very close now.
Yes, we are close in many ways. Yes, yeah. He's struggling.
Does he still have the problems? He still has the.
Well, he's still an alcoholic. He doesn't drink most of the time.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't go to A, but now he has Parkinson's disease, so he's got a lot to struggle with.
I see. Do you keep yourself busy, though? You just finished an
album.
I
like to.
You do.
Yes.
You keep yourself busy. You finished a wonderful album right now. It's is there anybody out there?
Yes.
Was my favorite.
Is there anybody out there?
It is. Is there
it's
really?
It's a question as a performer, isn't it?
I love that. I think it's a great song.
Thank you. It's
great
a good song.
You did an Easter Seal thing.
Easter Seal Telethon, yes, a little while ago, and I sang the song.
And
you just happen to have.
I know I don't happen to have. You. I just want to show this clip.
Okay.
May I show this clip?
I think
It is a wonderful clip. Annie, could you show it for me, please? Thank you.
Is there anybody out there who feels the way I do? Who's out there in the dark with their heart in the stillness of some silent room, tossing and turning, impossible to sleep, thinking all about their life, wondering why on this night they're alone as can be. Is there anybody out there who only wants a chance to really give all there is of themselves to an honest romance? Well, don't just stop believing, 'cause I'm out here too. If there's anybody out there for me, I'll always be right here for you. Like the stars light up the night for lost ships at sea, I'm hoping the same light leads love to me. I've been looking for some answers in the corners of my mind, but there's none there to be found, just the sound of the past as the memories rewind. Is there anybody out there who's barely hanging on, who's lost the will to love, given up, had enough, thinks the time's come and gone? Well, don't just stop believing, 'cause I'm out here too. If there's anybody out there for me, hold on, I'm coming for you. Is there anybody out there? I'm right here for you. I'm waiting for you. Is there anybody out Is there anybody out there waiting for you?
Just wonderful. You know, L.A. Described you as one of the greatest voices. It was just in the paper just a month ago or something. You described Gloria Loring, one of the greatest voices since Barbra Streisand.
That's nice. It's a nice compliment. She's a
How do you
great
handle
singer.
that? How do you handle that when you hear
I
things
just
like that?
smile. I mean, I love what I do, and if other people love it, it's wonderful, you know.
Friends and Lovers, tell me, the hits record you did. Oh,
yeah, I know.
With Carl
a medley of my hit, yes. Friends and Lovers.
Friends and Lovers.
I had one hit, and I'm so pleased. I'm very pleased.
Oh, but it's a great song.
It is a great song, and it really is a classic.
Working with this great singer, too, this Carl...
Carl Anderson.
Anderson.
Yes, and it was written by Jay Gruska and Paul Gordon. And they
sold
just...
over 1 million. Over 1 million, Annie. It was just a big hit. Big
yes,
hit.
It was. And still gets played a lot, which is nice.
You're a big hit down in Australia. You just got back from Australia.
Yes,
big hit.
I've done
Gloria.
4 concert tours there, and the people are lovely, and the land is so beautiful. But the people are so, you know, their motto is "No worries, mate."
I've been there.
And they're
in
so
the 70s,
sweet,
yeah.
and they're so relaxed and just lovely, very hospitable.
Days of Our Lives, Gloria Looking. How did you get that in Days of Our Lives?
Well, I had all those acting lessons for all those years, and I
Right.
couldn't get a job. I couldn't get an agent to even send me out for a reading, or the casting people would say, "Oh, well, she's a singer. You know, we know she's a
right,
singer,"
right.
but. And so finally, I had an agent who decided he was going to send me out frequently, and I went out and I read for a wonderful woman named Doris Zaba,
Right.
who I read for a different show, but she liked my reading, and she seemed to like me.
Right.
And she had me back several times to read for different roles, and then one time she called and she said, "I think we found the role for you." And I went in and I read for Days of Our Lives, and I came back and I read a second time for the producers, and then I screen tested with 3 other actresses. And the first thing I ever won in my whole life, it was so exciting.
You won more things in life.
No, I'd never won anything at that
Never?
point. Never.
It is like a
I'd never auditioned. I'd flunked my Merv Griffin audition.
Uh-huh.
I hated auditioning. I would get terrified at auditions.
You
So-
also did, you worked with these wonderful actors on Days of Our Lives. Also, you did something about a cookbook. Tell me about that. How did that all became?
Oh,
the
well,
celebrity cookbook, because you wanted to collect money to help your foundation.
Yes, yes.
Tell
The
me about
Juvenile
that.
Diabetes Foundation. Well, it was about a year after my son was diagnosed. I joined the cast of Days of Our Lives. And I noticed that we were always trading recipes, and it just dawned on me that a celebrity cookbook from the soap, I was beginning to become aware of how powerful the audience was and how devoted the audience was and how much they loved little souvenirs. And I thought, well, what if I put together a cookbook and I could figure out a way to sell it and raise money for diabetes research? And I did the Days of Our Lives Celebrity Cookbook, Volume 1 and then Volume 2. And then I also did an album and all of that. And all of that mail order money for, and we raised over $1 million for diabetes research. So it was extraordinary to, you know, become a publisher and become, I mean, the lesson out of it for
So
me.
you're really the spokeslady, celebrity spokeslady for this organization.
I'm
aren't you?
the celebrity chairman. Mary Tyler Moore is the international spokesperson
Right.
for JDF. I'm sort of the national second, you know, second in command. And
come on, you raise a lot of money for them, dear.
It's fine for me to be second to Mary anytime. But the thing that I was saying is about the cookbook and the album and doing the things that I did for JDF was, what I learned is that when you really commit your heart to something,
Right.
and you have a great fierceness about it, and I did because I'm trying to save my son's life, that you can accomplish great things.
Right.
And what happened was, out of doing those projects for the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation and seeing the success of them, I was able to put those same principles to use in other areas of my life. So all this work I did for free out of, you know, for my son, for JDF, just came back to be such a gift to me, much more, I think, than I was a gift to JDF. It was really a great experience.
Gloria, I'm looking at you. What's been the biggest lesson that you have learned?
The
'Cause this
biggest
is-
lesson
yeah,
I
this-
have learned, that I do not have to be the victim of my own mind,
That's interesting.
that I can choose to follow the thoughts that come up in my mind, or I can choose not to, and that there's a greater place from which to function. That's a deep one.
Do you believe?
You asked, I gave it to you.
It's your show.
Do you believe in fate? Do you believe in fate?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You
I
do?
have a great, someone told me recently a wonderful thing that I think you'll like. Said, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous.
Yes, 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 yes. Gloria Loring, you're here in Hollywood right now. You're opening at the Roosevelt Hotel.
Well, we're
real
going to do
soon.
3 days at the Cinegrill at the Hollywood Roosevelt
Right.
for fun, and just because every once in a while I play LA whether they want me to or not.
Right, to bring all your friends to come to see
All my
him.
friends come in and we do all the new songs and the old songs and just have a great
So
time.
it'll be an evening with Gloria Loring at the Roosevelt Cinegrill
Yes.
in May.
May 6th, 7th, and 8th, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, just for Mother's
are
Day.
good
I'm a
days.
mom. It's a perfect weekend
is,
for me to
yes,
be having
yes.
a good time.
So your 2 children are grown now. You're very.
They're 16 and 18, yes.
And are they in the business at all?
Brennan is very interested in film scoring, and he has a little mini studio at home, and he produces tracks for rap,
Right,
kind
right.
of R&B sort of things. And Robin is in a group. He's a 16-year-old. He has a very good voice. He's in a group called Common Ground, and they're out there schlepping, trying to get a record contract. And he's
But you
a
have your own
wonderful singer.
record company, don't you? You opened
Well,
up,
I
didn't you?
have. I produced this album
Right.
and have put it out, but I'm also going to be distributing. I think we're winding something up with a record company.
How about country music? Does Gloria Loring love country music?
I like it, and I certainly respect it. I don't listen to a lot of it. I'm not really familiar, but I think the songwriters and the singers are such good singers. They sing so well in tune. You know, the
Right.
Reba McEntires and I mean all the wonderful, wonderful singers. Yeah, I did release at one time. I recorded a song, oddly enough, called Brooklyn. That years ago, when we finished the record, we listened to it and we said, you know, this is not going to get played on the pop radio. And the record company decided to release it as a country song, but we knew that no one would play it. Again, that typecasting thing with my name on it, because they would say, oh, she's a pop singer. So we put another name on it, Cody Jameson, and the song was a top 40 country hit. But then what do you do?
That's what you did,
know,
eh?
you say, oh, I'm Cody Jameson. Well, I'm also Gloria Loring. Well, I'm also, you know, never mind.
You
So
seem
it sort of
very
stopped
happy
there.
now, Gloria. You seem very happy. Is there a man in your life right now?
No,
There
just
isn't?
my sons. And we
Your
have a
son-
new puppy. He's a male.
Okay, yeah. And cats? How about cats?
Cats. We have 3 female cats, yes.
Really? I knew
Lucy and
Gloria-
Ethel and Allergy.
Ah,
So named Allergy, named by my son, yes.
What has been the hardest for Gloria Loring?
The hardest thing in my life ever was learning that my son had diabetes. And the greatest gift is knowing that I'm going to be a part of curing it. So they come the flip side of that coin. Yeah.
So Gloria Loring keeps herself busy for that reason, don't you?
I
That's
keep
because you-
I keep myself busy because I have a lot of things I love to do. My work for the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation is the most important work I do, but I am very blessed in that the work I do for a career, singing, is also one of the great joys of my life.
What's been the happiest memory for Gloria Loring?
Happiest memory? Wow. I don't know. I think I'm still making them. I don't know what else to say. I mean, there are so many great moments in my life.
Who encouraged you as a singer, encouraged you to get into the business? Who encouraged Gloria?
I would say that, I suppose my parents would feel they did. I don't remember a strong encouragement so much as, it wasn't that they pushed me into the business so much as they never discouraged me. And they knew I loved it, and they applauded and gave me the acknowledgement that made me feel good about myself. So I went into that. I think that one person who was very instrumental in my life, and you will like this because it's a known person, is Valerie Harper.
I love her.
Wonderful
Yes.
person. And she's a dear friend, and she came into my life at a point when I had not started acting, but I was having a chance to do a little bit part, and when I said, would you help me read through this? She was sort of a friend at that, we were becoming friends, and she said, oh yes, and I read through, she said, oh, you're wonderful, you're such a natural actress. I said, I am? And she saw me complete and whole, and she saw the potential, you know, and it was such a gift she gave to me, and she's an extraordinary woman.
Gloria Loring, as a singer, actress, mother, caring for people, you write books,
Yes,
cookbooks, singing, rap albums.
yes.
What else does Gloria Loring want to do?
What do I want to do?
Where would you like to see yourself, say, 10 years or 5 years from now? Where would you like to see yourself?
I think one of the things I'm looking forward to doing that I've had to say no to, or at least no to some inquiries at this point.
Yes.
I haven't gotten the big offer, but is doing a musical on Broadway. I've turned down, you know, people have said, "Gee, are you interested?" Well, I got, yeah. I mean, it's not. They haven't said, "Here's the contract." They just said, "Gee, are you interested in?" And I've said, "No, not until my boys are both out of high school and entrenched in a college or whatever they're going to do, and then Mother can go off and they can try to figure out where to find me." But I feel I have a responsibility to be there for them until they get through high school, and then if I want to go to New York and do something more, then I will do that, if they still want me, you know.
So the theater and on stage, because you've been working clubs all your life, really.
Well, but I've also done theater the last several years. I was in San Francisco
Matter
starring
of fact, you did one at the Burt Reynolds Blame It on the Movies.
Blame It on the
My
Movies.
friend David Galligan wrote
yes,
that. David is a
yes, David directed that.
directed. He's a wonderful guy.
And a year
Tell me
ago-
about that show.
Well, I was going to tell you about a year ago. I was in Stardust in San Francisco for 3 months, which was great fun. And Henry Latang, the wonderful choreographer, directed us and choreographed, and I got to dance. I got to pull my hamstring, which was a lot of fun. But I got to sing Mitchell Parish's great songs. And Blame It on the Movies had been back in '89. That was 4 years ago.
Right.
And that was a lot of fun. We did a lot of wonderful songs from films, worked with a great fun cast, a very ensemble kind of piece. But it was great.
It opened here in Hollywood at the Coast Theater. I remember seeing it. It was wonderful. With Mimi Hines, matter of fact, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
I think Mimi Hines did it. Working in San Francisco at this wonderful, wonderful show. I saw it here, a matter of fact.
Yes.
It came here. It opened in San Francisco. So you opened the show in Stardust.
In San Francisco, and then it came here, and I was actually away at that time on an Australian tour. And when they were going to go into rehearsal and all, so I couldn't even consider doing it. But they had good success for several months. Yeah.
So Gloria, TV, what's happening with your life now? What is exciting? Now you're going to be at the Roosevelt in May.
Yes.
What is exciting right now in your life?
What
right
is
now?
exciting?
Is there going to be a man coming up, or come on, share it?
Not asbestos.
I mean,
No, actually, no. I'm not seeing anyone, and I'm not planning on it right now. I am focusing on, especially my work with the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, and this album, getting this album distributed nationally. The title song, which everybody saw, "Is There Anybody Out There," has been picked up as a recurring theme on Guiding Light, one of the soaps. So that's really a great vehicle for the song and the album. And I'm working with JDF. We're working on a $100 million international initiative to end diabetes once and for all, called The Decade for the Cure. We have committed ourselves to ending diabetes by the end of this decade. So that's a huge undertaking.
That is an undertaking.
Yes, and I'm writing some new songs with some wonderful writers, and just doing a lot of. And I went out on some readings this week for some acting things, and who knows, you know.
For movies, you want big movies, big screen. You want to see
I think my time to be a film actress is
ready.
gone.
No, it's ready.
I think
No,
it's
you're
gone.
wrong. It's ready.
No, at my age, I'm up.
with Angelian.
Well,
That's right.
But that's television. A film, big screen. I have a feeling that's
What
just
was
passed
that with
me by.
Angelian?
My
did
next lifetime, I'll be a film star.
I think you played her sister.
I played her sister, and it was Convicted, a mother's story. It was a rerun, though. It had been on a couple
How about
years
the
ago.
films for women today? Are you satisfied with the women's films today?
Few and far between, and the ones that do come out, I mean, the wonderful ones, you know, Howard's End and Enchanted April, and so many of them just don't get the kind of exposure that I think if people had a chance to go and see them. Enchanted April was an enchanting film.
It was good.
So it was a great film.
So you like English films?